In this lesson, we will talk about joints. So basically, joints in Maya, they are very similar to human bones. So you can think of joints in Maya as the bone objects that we human have. Okay, so we have bone objects underneath our skin which control our movement and the articulation of our body. Okay, so we have many different articulations in our body, and each time we move some section in our body, we can rotate and move that bone according to its point of articulation. So here in Maya and in every 3D software that provides joints, so in every 3D software, joints behave or simulate that movement we have in the human bones. Okay, so we have joints, and each joint is in fact a point or articulation points around which we can transform certain objects and rotate certain objects around that articulation points. Okay, so let me show you how you can get and create joints. From here, from the skeleton menu here, you can go ahead and grab the create joints option. You can click on that square to grab the option box. Okay, and now if we start placing joints here, you can see Maya have gone ahead and start creating joint object and linked each joint to its parent objects with a bone. So you can think of this here, of this cone here, like a bone. Okay, so if we now want to finish the creation process, you can hit the enter key on your keyboard and Maya will go ahead and finish the creation process. Okay, so the way these joints move, you can, for example, grab either the move tool using the W key and start moving this around, or you can grab the rotate tool by hitting the E key on your keyboard, and now you can start rotating your joints. Okay, so now you can see that this joint here, you will notice that this is the parent of all the childs in its hierarchy. Okay, so if we now start rotating this, everything in its hierarchy will follow because these are parented to it. Okay, and to see clearly this relationship here, Maya will go ahead and draw this cone here to illustrate that there is a connection. Okay, so this is the child of this joint here, and this as well is the child of this joint here. If I now, for example, select this one here and hit the Shift P, which is going to unparent it from the hierarchy, you will notice that that cone that was drawn before, it is not here any longer. And now if we start rotating this around, yes, we are able to rotate and drive this one here, but this one here is still without any movement. Okay, so this is how joints. So basically, again, joints are just articulation points. Okay, if I now, for example, go ahead and in the create tab, create, for example, let's say a cube, and if I now, for example, parent this cube to this joint here by hitting the P key, first we select the object that we want to parent, and then we select the parent object which will drive our cube, then we hit the P key. Now if we start rotating the joint here, notice what happens. So basically this joint here now is the parent, and this cube here is rotating around this articulation point here. So this is the new articulation of the cube if we start rotating this joint around. So as we start diving in much deeper in this lesson here, you will get a better understanding of how joints really works and how they can affect the model and the skinning of a model. Because basically the joints here, we will skin our geometry and model to these joints here, and by doing that we will be able to deform them in a flexible way and give our models a better deformations and bring them to life. Okay, so these are pretty much everything you need to know at this point here about joints. So again, think of joints as the bone objects that we humans have under our skin. So the skin is being controlled by joints, and once we start moving the joints, we are able to drive the skin and we are able to move our body and the parts of our body. So this is pretty much the same thing. This is very similar to the way the Maya and other software, 3D softwares, give us in terms of joints and bone objects. When we say joints and say bone objects, this is the same thing. The terms are interchangeable. So if I say, for example, joints, I mean the bones, and the other way around. So the bones mean joints and joints mean bone objects. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this lesson. This is just an introductory lesson of how joints work inside Maya. Let's go ahead and move on to the next lesson, and let's start working on the skeleton of our character's head.